from Pear Tree Paper Crafts, and today I'm back with another 12 by 12 process video for you. This one is a photograph of me and my son when he was very tiny, and because I have a boy I don't have a lot of use for pink, so whenever I've got a photograph that includes me as well, I do take the opportunity to use pink on a layout. So what you've just seen me do there is use some texture paste and a stencil to create a little bit of a mixed media background, which I'm going to add some watercolour to later, but right now I'm going to start backing this cut file. Now this cut file is from Confessions of a Paper Addict, and it's gorgeous. It's obviously that square frame and then the bunting there that runs across the page and those gorgeous flowers. Today I am using the Cocoa Vanilla Studio Happiness collection. I do tend to scrap in collections, especially at the moment. The colours coordinate so well together. I just think it helps with the overall appearance. So what I'm doing is I'm doing the flowers in that gorgeous kind of marbled pink, and then I'm doing the same with the bunting. And then I'm going to do the few little leaves that are poking out from around those flowers in one of the green papers from the collection as well. I do have the 12 by 12 and the 6 by 8 paper pads for this, so I do use the 6 by 8s to back some of the bits because I don't want to cut into those full sheets. And that full sheet there, the one I'm using for the background, is also from the same collection. So yeah, I'm just taking individual pieces now and popping them over the back of that bunting to back that as well in the same colour. I'm quite a monochromatic girl. I do like things to be very similar in colour. I don't mind pops of other colour, but I do generally keep it to the same. Now, I don't make you watch all of this, and soon we're going to jump ahead to when the cut file was finished, and I start looking at matting my photograph. So there it is, all done, and as you can see I've done the leaves in green. They just add a real nice pop of colour there. And I'm going to start matting. So my photograph is a 6x4. I have left it as a 6x4, haven't trimmed it down. Popping it on some vellum there and using a ruler to tear along, just so I don't get a really clean edge. I get a little bit of a rough edge, but I find vellum really hard to tear. So I tend to rip along the edge of something. What I'm doing now is getting some tissue paper. I was going to put this straight behind, and then I decided actually I'd put some more layers in first, some more coloured layers in first, and then I would add the tissue underneath that to give a real sense of dimension and layering. So I'm just coming through the 6 by 8 paper pad and picking out any bits that I think will work with this photograph and this layout. They don't all go in the matting, but while I was there I thought I'd use them. I was going to use that lighter pink paper, but then I decided it didn't quite fit because I'd used the darker pink for the bunting, so I wanted to keep it quite similar. I decided to soften the edges of this photograph and the matting of this photograph by tearing the paper. I did that because I didn't want it to feel harsh. I wanted it to have those softer edges and a softer feel to it. So I end up tearing everything now that I'm going to stick on. I use a variety of different papers around the edge, different ones at the top, different ones at the side, and different sizes as well. They don't run all the way along. And I'm just making sure they're properly stuck down using plenty of double-sided sticky tape. And then I do go for that tissue paper. I find the tissue paper tears one way really easily and then not the other, so I end up just sort of tearing one edge. But it softens the appearance of that photograph and gives lots of layers, lots of dimension behind it. I'm really happy with the effect that it gives. Do have to be quite careful with double-sided sticky. I do use this double-sided sticky on a roll here rather than my ATG gun, because I do find sometimes if I do that with tissue it tears. So just being extra careful. I decide now I really don't like that pink dotty paper there, and I go back to the paper pad and I find some more of that marbled pink. I was going to put it all the way around and then I thought that's too much, so just use a tiny bit on each edge. Again, torn so that it's nice and soft against the photograph. It felt like it needed to be soft because it's a lovely sort of snuggly picture. So there we go, everything done. I do decide to add a little bit more texture paste in there, and then I go in with my watercolours and I splatter some of that lovely dark pink, and then I spray some water on, and I splatter in some of the lighter pink as well. I want some spots to stay there. I want it to smoosh around a little bit. Because of the nature of the cardstock that I've used as the background, I couldn't gesso it. I don't have any clear gesso. Perhaps that's something I need to invest in. But I just use a bit of water to get it to spread around, and then dab off the excess with some kitchen towel. What I'm doing now then is using some double-sided foam, sticky foam, to prop up the bunting and the flowers on the layout. I don't really want to prop anything else up. I was going to go around the whole of the edge with some very thin foam, but decided it's too thin and it's a bit too fiddly. Now I do have a bit of trouble here adhering this down to the page. It takes me a long while to try and get this straight because my page has gone so wobbly with having sprayed it with water and put that extra texture on there. So it takes me a really long time to get this kind of where I want it, but I get there in the end, and then I'm just popping some more foam on the back of the photograph, more double-sided sticky, and I'm kind of tucking that in so it's under and over, so it's over a couple of bits and under others. I then go around with some wet glue, and I just stick down the corners of that cut file, just because I don't want to catch it and accidentally tear it, because I think that would spoil it, and I love that framed effect. So I just stick extra little bits down. I just sit there with my fingers on it for a little while before it properly sticks because of the texture paste that's underneath. But yeah, I'm much happier with it all kind of stuck down and in place. Like I said, slightly wobbly page, but never mind. I'm going to use that gorgeous word love. It's a rose gold colour, and it's from Bramble Fox as part of my title, but I'm also going to put some more alphas on there in a little while. What I'm doing now is taking some of the bits I found from the 6x8 paper pad and fussy cutting a couple of the flowery bits, and then also cutting a couple of the frames and tags in half so that I can tuck them in at different places around my photograph, give that extra dimension again. I love that little phrase there that says loving every second, so I decided to tuck it in there above the photograph because I really was loving every second of that cuddle with him. And then I just go through what I've got left of the ephemera pack from the Happiness collection. I did actually buy 2 of the ephemera packs because I knew I would use lots of them, and I am getting quite low. Some of those bits there are fussy cut from one of the larger sheets as well, so I am running quite low on ephemera, but it needed it around that photograph, so I'm really happy with how that's come together. So I've used some of the leaves, some of the flowers. I've used that little banner there that says one of a kind, little ribbony tag there just going underneath, and a couple of little tags just to pop in at the sides. So I just go around now with my wet glue and stick everything down. I do prefer to use wet glue for sticking embellishments down and ephemera down, just so that you can then still move it around if you need to. Those little pops of green just break up that pink. And then I do use a bit of foam on the back of that loving every second. Mainly because it's been stuck on top of some of the texture paste. I do like that ticket that says happiness, but I just can't make it work. I can't get it to fit without covering too many things up. So in the end it comes back off again. And now I'm going to start by popping on my title. So here comes that gorgeous word love. Just press that down and make sure that sticks. And then I'm going to get some mini white alphas, little foam alphas out that say a mother's love. just to finish off my title. I was going to use those peachy coloured ones, but I realised I don't have any E's left, so I can't do that, so I'm going to use the white ones. And I just jiggle them around until I'm happy with their positioning. And that's the end of my layout today. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, please be sure to give this a great big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I also do love getting comments, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have about the layout. Just adding my final finishing touches there, because I have to put on some of those butterflies. Those cocoa vanilla butterflies appear on so many of my layouts because they are just beautiful. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. Here come some close-ups.